What's up, everybody? It's Clark here for the BOS Sports Podcast, celebrating his Atlanta Hawks get the victory at the buzzer as Caris LeVert, he gets a game-winning layup to defeat the Memphis Grizzlies 132-130. The Atlanta Hawks complete and come from behind effort, which the Atlanta Hawks, they trailed by double digits there in that fourth quarter, but they came back and stole it as Dyson Daniels, he stole the game there in the final seconds, getting his third steal of the game off Desmond Bane's fifth turnover to hit Caris LeVert in transition there in the final seconds, get the game-winning bucket. As a game which Zachary Richey, he had Atlanta Hawks high at 27 points with 4 steals, all in the first half, the steals that is. 27 points for the game, 11 for 13 shooting from field, 5 for 7 shooting from three-point land. Zachary Richey absolutely putting a stamp on his case for the Rookie of the Year this year. Absolutely like to see Zachary Richey win Rookie of the Year, as he's absolutely the front runner to this point so far. As well, the Atlanta Hawks, they really won this victory. It's coming out of the All-Star break. They had lost 4 of their first 5 games and have now won a second game coming out of the All-Star break. So nice victory for Atlanta Hawks. Of course, they're going to have a tough matchup again tomorrow night facing the Milwaukee Bucks. So in tonight's episode of the BOS Sports Podcast, we're going to recap this game. We're going to talk some current topics, current updates about the Atlanta Hawks. Got big Braves news today. Unfortunately, Sean Murphy, he's injured again. We'll get into that more. Got some updates. I believe the Braves are through their first 10 spring training games, and we have some compilations of stats. So we'll take a look in to hear how our Atlanta Braves are doing so far early on spring training, as well as some comparison, compiled some Dodgers and Philly stats. A lot to get to in this episode. So back here to this Atlanta Hawks game, Caris LeVert, the man of the game. He absolutely broke out this game. He struggled a little bit with his shooting coming from the Cavaliers. He had nice three-point shooting numbers there with the Cavs. And since coming to Atlanta Hawks, he's been taking a lot of shots. And Hawks fans might say, whoa, that's a lot of shots. Well, we saw tonight why Caris LeVert takes all those shots, as he's an absolute nice scorer. As well, he's in his contract year looking to make up and get a nice contract here in this offseason. And with a 25 point, 5 assists, 3 steal, 1 block game with 11 for 19 shooting from field, Caris LeVert certainly had a nice day. Onyeka Okongwu and Trae Young, they both had double-doubles. Sneeze time. Aforementioned my post, allergy season hits me pretty hard. We're going to see how these episodes go during allergy season. Usually my allergy season ends middle of April or in April, so it's going to take a while. So back to this game here, Onyeka Okongwu and Trae Young, they both had nice double-doubles, and we'll get to their double-double totals in a second here. Onyeka Okongwu, he had 16 points, 12 rebounds with 5 offensive rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, 8 for 12 shooting from field, 66.7% from the field for Onyeka Okongwu. Trae Young, he had 12 points tonight, 15 assists, 5 for 17 shooting from field for Trae Young. His shooting woes continue as he's continually listed with that heel tendonitis that he's been dealing with since November. Wonder if that has any effect on his shot. Certainly be an interesting question to ask after the season. So Dyson Daniels, he has 14 points. A nice day for Dyson. As aforementioned, he had the game-winning steal and assist. He had 3 steals total on the day and 7 assists total, as well as 3 rebounds and a nice shooting day as well for Dyson Daniels, shooting 6 for 10 from the field. Desmond Bain, he had the game high as well, the high for the Memphis Grizzlies, and as well, he had a triple-double. He messed around and got that triple-double with 35 points, 10 assists, 10 rebounds, and as well, he did have 5 turnovers. Trae Young had 5 turnovers as well. A little bit water under the bridge. The Memphis Grizzlies would not have been at that point to lose that game with not Desmond Bain's triple-double. So, as well, Desmond Bain, he had 9 for 19 shooting from field, 47.4%. 7 Memphis Grizzlies were in double digits. Zach Edey, Luke Kennard, 16 points. Zach Edey, 15 points. Brandon Clark, 11 points. Vince Williams, 15 points. G.G. Jackson, 11 points. Jalen Wells, 12 points, but not enough to beat the Hawks tonight. So Trae Young, he recorded his 36th double-double of the season this year, tying him with Alperen Sengun and Nikola Vucevic coming in tonight. I'm not sure if either of those players got a double-double tonight. I have to check that after this episode. But at the time when he hit that double-double, he tied for 6th overall in the NBA. He's the only guard in the top 10 this year of the NBA in double-doubles. We've seen guards such as Russell Westbrook in the top 10 of double-doubles in years past. Darren Williams, from back in the day, he was in the top 10 of double-doubles. I believe that year he got snubbed for the All-Star game, but made the second or third All-NBA team. So Trae Young as well this year, he's in top 10 of double-doubles. And the next closest guard in double-doubles is James Harden with 27, 9 less than Trae coming in tonight, and 16th overall. So not even another guard in the top 15 this year in double-doubles. And Trae was 8th coming in tonight, 6th after his 36, and we'll see how chips lie tomorrow and the rest of the stats. So Onyeka Okongwu as well, he had his 16th double-double of the year. He's now in the top 30 of that stat category. And he's the only player in that top 30 that was not presumed to be a starter coming into this year. Fortunately, we also see Jalen Johnson. He remains up there. What could have been for Jalen Johnson if he stayed healthy this year, as he's still top 30 in double-doubles this season. So, of course, in this podcast, we look at 3 key stats, whether or not team wins a basketball game. That's, of course, field goal percentage, rebounding, turnovers. Hawks won 2 out of 3 of those tonight, as Memphis Grizzlies turnover woes continued tonight, averaging around 18 a game coming in tonight. They had 19 tonight compared to the Atlanta Hawks 12. Atlanta Hawks outshone 57.3%, the Grizzlies 50.5%, and the Grizzlies handedly out-rebounded the Hawks 56-41. Ja Morant was out for the Memphis Grizzlies, dealing with right shoulder tightness. Do not like to see that, as he suffered the same type of injury that Jalen Johnson suffered last year, and Ja Morant is still dealing and managing with that injury. So we like to see Ja Morant doing well, and hopes that Jalen Johnson has a similar trajectory next year. So Georges Niang for Atlanta Hawks, he missed his 2nd straight game with illness as well. They said that he's not on this road trip. 1 game, 1 off, so we'll see if he returns tomorrow night. Santi Aldama as well is out for the Grizzlies. It was announced as he was announced questionable coming in today, and was announced as it came into the game. So Jaren Jackson Jr., he as well left for the Memphis Grizzlies after 1 minute and 39 seconds after turning his ankle, and was ruled doubtful and did not return back to the game to Jaren Jackson Jr. So the Memphis Grizzlies really reeling with injuries right now as they look to gear up. They've just lost, I believe, 4 in a row now, and they're now reeling and trying to position themselves and stay out of the play-in tournament. That's probably the key in the West, as you don't want to add an extra workload, extra games, when you have to go through other teams such as Denver Nuggets with Nikola Jokic and that monstrous defense with the Oklahoma City Thunder. So this game, which the Hawks won 132-130, started off in the first quarter. Recap the game a little bit here before we get to Braves coverage. So the Dyson Daniels, he got a bucket, his 2 of his 12 first half points there with the first bucket of the game there in the first quarter. The Hawks Grizzlies, they traded buckets there in the first few minutes, as by the 5-minute 57-second mark, Dyson Daniels at the free throw line hits 2, ties the game 14-14, is 6-point. Grizzlies then made a late first quarter run, outscoring the Hawks 20-14 the rest of the way, with Desmond Bane absolutely going off, having 13 of his 35 points there in the first quarter. The Grizzlies were up 34-28 over the Hawks. Second quarter was the Zachary Vizche show. Say it again, Zachary Vizche for Rookie of the Year. He's absolutely balling out. Needs to be talked about more, as I believe he's now leading Stephon Castle in multiple categories. So Zachary Vizche show in the second quarter, as he had 10 points, 10 of his 24 of the game. 27. 10 of his 27 points did Zachary Shea have there in that second quarter. As well, he was very active on defense that first half, having 4 first half steals and 1 block. I thought he had 2 blocks, but I believe they counted one of those steals at one of those blocks I thought was a block as a steal. So the Hawks then outscored the Grizzlies 42 and led by over the Grizzlies 70-65 at halftime. Zachary Shea, he had 14 points, 4 assists, 4 steals, 1 block, 1 rebound, 6 for 7 shooting from field, 85.7%. Onyeka Okongwu, he already nearly had a double-double with 10 points, 8 rebounds the first half, 5 for 9 shooting from field. Dyson Daniels, he had 12 points, 5 for 7 shooting from field. 2 steals, 2 assists for Dyson Daniels in the first half. 6 points, 8 assists for Trae Young in the first half. 2 for 9 shooting from field. Trae Young was already struggling early with his shot as well. He made his only 2 3-point attempts there in the first half and was 0 for 2. Caris LeVert, he had 21 of his 25 points there in that second half, as he only had 4 points that first half and was struggling with his shot as well. 2 for 8 from the field and 0 for 4 from 3-point land. He said in his post-game interview that he felt like some of those shots should have gone down. I believe, if I remember correctly, or maybe he's talking about a different shot. Have to go back and look at that again. But his aforementioned early in this episode, he was shooting nice there with Cleveland Cavaliers. Since he's come over here, he struggled a little bit, including that first half, and I was originally thinking to say he might want to try to settle in a little bit, but he's absolutely settled in after a buzzer-beating victory and a 21-point second half. Absolutely balling out of control. Caris LeVert has arrived in Atlanta. Hopefully he has a Lynn Sandy run rest of the season. Gets a nice contract during the offseason. Maybe with the Hawks. We'll see. So Desmond Bane as well for the Memphis Grizzlies. He had 17 points there for the Grizzlies in the first half. 5 assists, 4 rebounds. 17 of his 35 points for Desmond Bane in the first half. Scottie Pippen Jr., 9 points, 4 for 5 shooting from field, as he would have, is that all of his points in the first half? Yes, he was one of the top scorers in the first half for the Grizzlies with Scottie Pippen Jr. The Hawks kept him clamped in that second half. He was 4 for 5 shooting from field. He only took 3 shots in that second half. Not much factor there for the Grizzlies. So the team stats there in the first half were 57-47. The Grizzlies were out shooting the Hawks fairly handily at that point as well. They were not the Hawks were winning the rebound. Oh, excuse me, I have that backwards. The Hawks first half shooting stat from the field, they're 53.7 compared to the Grizzlies 47.1. The Hawks as well were getting out rebounded already in the first half, 27-30, and already winning the turnover margin 7-12. The 2 of the 3 stats that they won out of the game to end the game, they're already winning by the first half with that nice 70-65 lead. So the third quarter opens with the Grizzlies on a nice little run. They open and got a couple free throw shots. Trae Young, he was taken out. He got taken out there by the Grizzlies around the 9-minute, 55-second mark. There's poor officiating. Up until that point, I feel like they corrected it after that point. Trae Young, he got a technical foul, and they overcorrected maybe a little bit to a point where Trae Young, he tripped, and they called a foul, but there was no foul. Trae Young tripped on his own. So I felt like it was a nice adjustment by the officials. You know, they say the human element or whatnot's in the game, so they appeared to correct themselves a little bit from poor calls, especially that one around just under the 10-minute mark there in the third quarter. So Grizzlies, they went off to a quick run from there, but Reese J, he got 3 there at 9-minute, 38-second mark, his 17th point. Close that temporarily. Trae Young, as mentioned, the broadcast is up to 11 technical fouls this year. 16 is how many that warrants an automatic suspension. So he's got 5 technical fouls to go. Don't want to risk that. Don't want to get suspended. Trae Young, you want to keep playing and keep contributing to those compilation stats working on this season as well. So Desmond Bain there, after that technical foul, hits the free throw. Luke Kennard got a bucket as the Grizzlies retook the lead temporarily, 9-minute, 14-second mark, 78-77 over the Hawks. Zachary Shea at the 8-minute, 57-second mark hits another three, his 20th point, off Trae Young's 10th assist. Trae Young hits Onyeka Okongwu on the cut. Seconds later, putting the Hawks up 82-80 as Gigi Jackson, he answers on the other end with a finger roll, 82-82. We're going to pause right here for a quick station identification. This is the BOS Sports Podcast. So after the Gigi Jackson finger roll that tied at 82-82 there in the third quarter, Trae Young hits a floater on the other end. At 10th point in the game, he already has a double-double there at the 7-minute, 39-second mark there in the third quarter. It's 36 of the year and good for somewhere between 8th and 6th. Here we'll see what Nikola Vucevic and Alperen Sengun do tonight and tomorrow. So as well, Trae Young... After Trae Young's floater at the 7-minute, 39-second mark, Desmond Bain hits a jumper on the other end. Gigi Jackson hits a three-point shot. Grizzlies score a quick 5 points and puts the Grizzlies up by 3 points there at the 6-minute, 53-second mark, 87-84 Grizzlies. But here comes Garrison Matthews as he had a nice 11-point game, 3 for 5 from three-point land. He hit one of those three-point shots there at the 5-minute, 59-second mark. Just like Caris LeVert, Garrison Matthews is in a contract season and wants to have a nice finish for the year and certainly contributed that with a nice game today. The 5-minute, 48-second mark, Keaton Wallace subbed in as he played 2 minutes, 50 seconds there, I believe, all in that third quarter. And he had a three-point shot there at the 4-minute, 4-second. But we saw Trae Young. He played a little bit longer there in the third quarter, but did not impact his minutes overall. As he played about 36 minutes today. That's around a season average. So Desmond Bain at the 5-minute, 9-second mark hits free throws, his 24th and 25th point. Put the Grizzlies up by 2, 89-87. Clint Capella, other end, get a 4-minute, 48-second mark, hits 1 of 2, 89-88. Hawks down by 1. Clint Capella had a pretty nice game as well, for 11 points, 4 rebounds. He had an assist today as well, 4 for 7 shooting from field, 57.1%. Onyeka Okongwu, also in a contract year, just like Garrison Matthews. Caris LeVert, he wants to have a nice finish to the year as well. Desmond Bain on the other end, after Clint Capella at the free throw line, he hits a bucket, put the Grizzlies up by 3, 91-88. But Keaton Wallace, he hits his aforementioned three-point shot there at the 4-minute, 4-second mark, tying the game 91-91. Desmond Bain, he comes back on the other end. He scores 5 points with free throws and a three-point shot, 3-minute, 25-second mark, putting the Grizzlies up by 2, 96-94. Here comes Caris LeVert hitting one of his three-point shots. One of his 3 on the day. He was 3 for 8 from three-point land, giving the Hawks a temporary 1-point lead, 94-93. And the Hawks had a chance to extend that lead a little bit. Oh, excuse me. They after the Desmond Bain three-point shot, the 3-minute, 25-second mark, Clint Capella had a chance to hit an alley-oop layup to have the Hawks answer on the other end. But you missed it, and Vince Williams Jr., he comes back on the other end, hits a three-point shot there at 2 minute 59-second mark at 10 point, putting the Grizzlies up 99-94. Grizzlies are starting to pull away some there in that third quarter. The Hawks, they took a timeout right after that Vince Williams Jr. three-point shot and got their starters back in the game. Nice call by Quinn Snyder there. So Grizzlies, they outscored the Hawks 8-7 the rest of that third quarter, with Desmond Bane getting up to 35 points total for the game there. As the Hawks, they would play some timely defense in that fourth quarter and hold them to 0 points in that fourth quarter. Trae Young, he had the final Hawks bucket of the game, third quarter, pulling the Hawks within 4 points, 105-101, at the 1 minute 3 second mark. The Hawks did not score for the last minute and 3 seconds. As we've seen sometimes, and I pointed out in this podcast, since Jalen Johnson's gone down, we've seen these spurts 1, 2, 3 minutes. Sometimes it goes up, been several minutes a couple times. The Hawks have just struggled to score, and it happens again to them again in the third quarter. Third quarter ends 107-101. Grizzlies up by 6. Fourth quarter opens. Clint Capella dunk. 107-103 off Trae Young's 14th assist. Luke Kennard answers back with a bucket. His 11-point, 109-113. Grizzlies back up by 6 in the 11-minute, 22-second mark of the fourth quarter. Clint Capella, he then makes an alley-oop. Slam dunk. Highlight jam, his 11-point, final point of the day off Trae Young's 15th assist, his final assist of the day. 109-105. Hawks down by 4. The Grizzlies. Vince Williams Jr., he hits the 3 on the other end, putting the Grizzlies lead back up to 7 points. Zach Edey, he got a hook shot. Grizzlies up by 9, 114-105. Zach Edey then hits some free throws. Jalen Wells reverse layup, 107-105. Grizzlies led by double digits, aforementioned in the fourth quarter, as I mentioned opening on this podcast. But here comes Zachary Shea at the 9 minute 31 second mark. He had the answer, putting the Hawks within 10 points, 117-107. His 25th point on Clint Capella assists, his assist of the game. Jalen Wells, he hits a 3 on the other end, 120-107. Grizzlies, they're still up by double digits again, 13. But the Hawks, they took a timeout. Quinn Snyder using those timeouts in the third quarter and a couple early in the fourth quarter to keep the game manageable here for the Hawks. Zachary Shea, he had another bucket out of that timeout. His 27th and final point of the game, 121-107, 121-109. Grizzlies up by 11. 12. For Dyson Daniels' 4th assist. Caris LeVert then had a dunk seconds later at the 8 minute 39 second mark. Cut it within single digits again, 120-111. Here come the Hawks. Luke Kennard, he then gets 2 buckets with a Caris LeVert bucket in between. Grizzlies back up by double digits, 124-113. Desmond Bane, he's up to 9 assists at this point. He's doing some playmaking here in the fourth quarter. Hawks take another timeout, trying to keep pace. Around the 5 minute 28 second mark, Luke Kennard got another bucket, giving the Grizzlies another double digit lead there with 5 minutes, a little under 5.5 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. The Hawks had a chance to get the stop in the bucket, but Luke Kennard gets the ball off an offensive rebound there for the Grizzlies. Gets the bucket. Could have been 6-point deficit there for the Hawks. Instead, Luke Kennard pushes the lead back up to 10 points. Desmond Bane up to 9 assists. Hawks take another timeout, trying to keep pace. Dyson Daniels, he then answered on the other end, pulling the Hawks back within single digits, 126-118. 4 minute, 46 second mark. Dyson Daniels, he fouled Desmond Bane on a reach-in attempt, his 5th foul of the game. Dyson Daniels, one more foul and you're out of the game, but he was very controlled on defense, as always. Stayed in the game, played tough defense, got that final steal of the game, did not foul out. Zachary Shea, after that foul, was subbed out. Trae Young was subbed in. And we would not see Zachary Shea return the game. Much ado has been made on Hawks social media platforms and commentary about Zachary Shea closing games. People want to see him close games. As I've stated before in my podcast, I've been staying since day one. Zachary Shea, the number one priority in his season this season, being 19 years old, is physical development and staying healthy, and everything else is really just a cherry and bonus on top. As we see Zachary Shea, he has developed into a stalwart defender and physical presence, not only at the 3, but the 4 as well. Really filling out there. And so it'd be nice to see how he continues to grow going into years 20, 21, 22, as he continues to grow as an adult there, as a young man there. So, and it looks like the Hawks agree, and that's what they've been doing all season. They do not close with Zachary Shea. He did play 32 minutes. That's quite a lot. He's been averaging certainly more since the Jalen Johnson injury. So back to this fourth quarter here. Caris LeVert, he had a 3-pointer there at the 4-minute and 27-second mark. Laughing because I accidentally wrote 5-pointer. 126, 121. Hawks down by 5. Caris LeVert and Vince Williams trade buckets out the timeout after Memphis calls a timeout there. 3-minute, 53-second mark. Hawks still down by 5, 128, 123. Onyeka Okongwu, he gets a bucket off offensive rebound off of Dyson Daniels' missed shot there at the 3-minute, 19-second mark. Onyeka Okongwu, 16-point, 11th rebound. That'll be his final point of the game. He get one more rebound after that. 128, 125. Hawks down by 3. Caris LeVert, he gets his 21st point off. You guessed it. Another 3-point shot there. 2-minute, 10-second mark. Hawks down by 2, 130 to 128. The Hawks really played a lot of timely defense, aforementioned, as they held the Cavs scoreless, the final Cavs. The Grizzlies scoreless the final couple minutes of the game, giving the Hawks that opportunity to walk it off. With that buzzer beater there, things looked a little bit bleak there, as at the 1-minute, 51-second mark, there's another BS call on Trae Young. It was called a blocking foul, and the Hawks challenged it and rightfully got overturned. Challenge successful. 1-minute, 34-second mark, Caris LeVert drives, gets his 23rd point, ties it 130 to 130. Both teams struggled to score last 9 seconds of the game. Desmond Bane, he travels, he got the Grizzlies' 18th turnover. Not the last turnover of the day, and his 4th turnover as well. Not his last turnover of the day either. Trae Young, he then misses a floater attempt. 52nd mark, Caris LeVert, he gets a foul, savvy foul, as the Hawks were not in the bonus yet. Did stop the ball, got the Hawks a chance to get a breather there for a second, catch their breath after Trae Young missed the floater. Vince Williams, he misses on that end. Caris LeVert, he misses a 3. I think that was the shot he said in his interview that he thought he should have made. Pardon me for earlier in the episode. I misquoted his interview. He said he felt like he should have made that shot there, that 3. Both the teams, I made a note, both the teams looked gassed. They were not calling timeouts. They both wanted the game to end. Interesting. I've not looked at Memphis' schedule for tomorrow. I know we're playing the Bucks tomorrow. So they wanted to get out of there. They did not want to call timeout. They did not want to go to overtime. They're going for Memphis Grizzlies shot the final seconds. And here comes Dyson Daniels with the play of the game, getting the steal, hitting Caris LeVert in transition, getting the layup as the buzzer sounds, as the clock strikes 0 there in the 4th quarter. Hawks win 132-130. They get their second victory out of the All-Star break. Things are all well for Atlanta Hawks tonight. Looking forward, March Madness is starting to pick up. Of course, the Atlanta Hawks, they have 2 first-round draft picks. They have one via the Lakers. That's going to be in early to mid-20 selection range, and they have one via the Kings. Let's look up the Kings really quick here. A second. Let's pause here for quick station identification and come right back with some Atlanta Hawks 2025 draft preview talk here. Just a little bit of quick talk before we transition to break. So the Atlanta Hawks, they have the Sacramento Kings pick. Of course, it is protected between selections 1 to 12. And Sacramento Kings, as of right now, are 13th in the NBA in a very crowded Western Conference. They hope to make some noise. Who knows? DeMar DeRozan, Domantas Sabonis, they're playing a new brand of pick-and-roll basketball with new head coach Doug Christie after firing Mike Brown early in the season and trading De'Aaron Fox. We could see them make some noise in the playoffs, but certainly as Hawks fans and holding that protected selection between selections 1 to 12, want the Hawks to realize that pick, as we'd really like the Atlanta Hawks to have two front court players. Of course, after signing Dominic Barlow to a 2-year contract, Atlanta Hawks are a little bit more assured at depth at the 4. I'd still like them to select a forward. But who knows, with Dominic Barlow, they might be more inclined to select a guard, maybe even a small forward. Some draft projections have the Hawks selecting Liam McNeely, an interesting shooter out of the draft. I've seen as well Nolan Traore. They have to learn how to pronounce his game. He's out of France, French prospect at the point guard position, standing around 6'3". He just turned 18 in December, so he won't even be 19 before his first NBA game here after he's selected. He's projected in the mid, around 15 to 20, early 20s range. LeBaron Philon as well, point guard there at Alabama, was projected in the Hawks ranges in previous mock drafts I've seen maybe a month or two ago. But he's a struggle a little bit. He's had a few struggle games. Not quite struggles per se, but just not as impressive stat-wise. So, but coming into and prior to when the Atlanta Hawks extended Dom Barlow, and of course he's depth, the Hawks can continue to add there at that forward position. There's some very interesting fours here in this upcoming draft. Unfortunately, my top selection, Thomas Sorber, he went down with a foot injury. Learned this, I believe, after the last podcast I did. He's out for the season with foot surgery. It's Thomas Sorber, so he's no longer an option. I saw him as potentially being similar to Giannis. He had nice ball handling skills, nice physical frame. I felt like would equate to durability here in the NBA, as well as playing and being capable, stalwart force in the paint there. So still in the draft, Joni Broom. He still fits that profile as well. He's a junior out of Auburn as well. The Auburn Tigers, they look to make noise in the NCAA tournament. They're a team certainly to track. And as well, Joni Broom, he's a nice prospect there as a very physical forward. I feel like he'd make impact on NBA roster right away. As well, at forwards, there's JT Toppin, brothers Jacob and Obi Toppin. He's a sophomore at his college. As well, Derek Queen, Maryland Terrapins, interesting freshman as well in the front court. He plays center for the Terrapins. For the Hawks at center, been looking a little bit more and been more excited about Danny Wolf and Ryan Kalkbrenner as they fall in the Hawks' potential draft selections of the Lakers and their Timberwolves pick. Of course, the Lakers pick being first-round pick there in the early to mid-20s selections. Timberwolves pick will be in the late 40s, mid-late 40s, the second round. So that's about the span of where I've seen both Ryan Kalkbrenner and Danny Wolf projected. Danny Wolf has really shot up the draft boards in recent weeks and now projected up in the first round. I saw him even connected to the Hawks with that Lakers pick in the first round. Earlier this season, I saw him in the second round in the 40 selection. And as well, Ryan Kalkbrenner, he was projected to be early to mid second rounder. I've seen him one or two mock drafts there in the first round, late selections. Ryan Kalkbrenner, fifth-year senior at Creighton, same alma mater as Kyle Korver, Atlanta Hawks assistant GM as well. He's three-time Big East, I believe three-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year. Shot blocker, defensive presence, monstrous field goal percentage. He was shooting like 66% as well. He's got a nice three-point shot. I'm really intrigued by Ryan Kalkbrenner. I like him a lot. Danny Wolf, though, has some nice ball handling skills and nice playmaking abilities that would be interesting to pair with Trae Young and Jalen Johnson there at the 5 spot. Imagine a stretch center, a shot blocker there, being able to do Nikola Jokic-esque kind of stuff there from Danny Wolf. Potential there. As well, out of France, Noah Esenge, another forward I'm highly excited about. He's Wells Young, 18, 19 years old. I can't remember which exactly. So he's going to be pretty young coming into NBA as well. He's not quite as filled out physically as Joni Broom is. So I feel like same as the Hawks are treating Zachary Uche this year. If the Hawks were to select Noah Esenge, you want him to develop physically at least for one season. It'd be the same with Nolan Traore. With Trae Young coming into the final 2 years of this contract and going into his 8th season next year, we don't want to take this window of Trae Young for granted. He's shown to be a dynamic pairing with Jalen Johnson. So I feel like with the right pieces, putting the right pieces around this Atlanta Hawks team, you're aiming for them to be a contender next year. And I feel like that's possible if they have a good draft. So, about to move here to Atlanta Braves coverage. We've played this clip. I played this clip in last episode 52. This is some of my trip and some of my game footage, some of my photos, memories, some of my from last season, the Braves. There's a bit of information in this clip that's not current, as both Kyle Finnegan and another pitcher I mentioned, reliever, had been both signed. Kyle Finnegan back to the Nationals, and I'm blanking on the other pitcher's name. The Dodgers got him on, I believe, a minor league or a split, or a non-guaranteed split. So here's this segment. Back in a few here with current Braves information. This is BOS Sports Podcast, episode 53. So here we go, back from August 30th, my trip to Philadelphia, seeing Phillies, Braves, August 30th, a game which the Braves won 7-2. 6-pitch, Joe Jimenez to Bryce Harper here, the bottom of the 8th inning, 1-2 pitch, fouled off, 87-mile-an-hour slider. Bryce Harper had a 10-pitch at-bat. We're really going to miss Joe Jimenez in 2025. Of course, he was announced last fall, being announced out for the year. Here comes a 7-pitch, 2-2. Slider down, ball. And here comes the 8th pitch to Bryce Harper. Joe Jimenez in 2024 had a 2.62 ERA, a sub-1 whip with 0.99, and 68.2 innings pitched. Another ball, 3-2 count. Bryce Harper, fastball up, 95.8 miles an hour. Really wish the Braves would sign another high-leverage righty. There's still Kyle Finnegan, Luis Garcia out there for the Braves here on this date of February 12th, 2025. 9th pitch to Bryce Harper, 95-mile-an-hour fastball. And it was an absolutely brilliant inning by Joe Jimenez. You get 3 out of the 4 batters faced out. Including there's, I believe, a fan ran on the field. But here Bryce Harper goes up the middle to Michael Harris, center field, base hit. But here's another video from that night. Interesting thing that the Phillies did. They had an Elvis entertainer there. Don't have much comments for this. It was a nice, cool night there. A windy breeze. It's nice being in Philadelphia. Cool air, cool weather. I'd like to go back there. Citizens Bank Park in the summer heat of Atlanta in August. Perfect weather to eat, drink outside. It's a cool 60-ish degrees. Can even dip into the upper 50s a little bit. Get a little bit nippy. But it's a nice change of pace from the summer heat, the 90s, 100s of Atlanta. Here you see the bullpen chilling out there. I'm sure they enjoy cooling off a little bit. Here's Brian Snitker, the Braves dugout. You can see Max Fried. Miss him. Marcell Ozuna at bat, wearing the yellow protective gear. Grant Holmes, we'll see what kind of year he has for Atlanta Braves this season. And here's some pictures from April. And here's AJ Smith's shopper from 2023. We'll see if he continues to grow. He's been really growing athletically. Ronald Acuna Jr., hope he comes back strong this year. So here we go. Dodgers Braves, September 16th. Had to go. Tickets were inexpensive. Shohei Ohtani, Max Fried. Hits it up the middle. Whit Merrifield comes home. Miguel Rojas is safe. Part of a 9-0 Dodgers defeat over the Braves. Hope the Braves have more success over the Dodgers in 2025. Here as well some more pictures from my trip to Philadelphia late August. Aforementioned, that weather was nice. Michael Harris had that absolute highlight catch. Did not get that on video, unfortunately. So, it's been 10 games already in spring training for Atlanta Braves. We got a bit of an idea of the team we're about to break down. Here are the most current updates for Atlanta Braves here in a second. Here with my cat, this is the BOS Sports Podcast. So aforementioned, we're now 10 games into Atlanta Braves spring training. We now have a little bit of sample size. Of course, we have the bad news today with Sean Murphy. He's out 4 to 6 weeks for Atlanta Braves with the cracked rib. MLB.com's Mark Bowman predicts the Braves to call up Drake Baldwin. He'll be his first time on the 40-man roster if the Braves do, in fact, call Drake Baldwin up to be on the opening day roster for Atlanta Braves. As well, Mark Bowman commented that Chadwick Trump he would see as well as opening day catcher for Atlanta Braves, assuming that Chadwick Trump would remain as a backup catcher once Sean Murphy returns. Some commenters online, some fans have commented that they might want to see Kurt Casale or Sandy Leon, a little bit more established veteran catchers, come up instead of Chadwick Trump. But that would unfortunately create a dilemma with the Atlanta Braves as Kurt Casale, Sandy Leon, and Chadwick Trump, none of them have options. So if the Braves want to remove them from the roster, they would have to DFA them and try to pass them through waivers. Not an ideal situation for Atlanta Braves. With Drake Baldwin, you'd be able to option them down to AAA there. Hi, kitty. Yeah. So the Braves lost today to the Rays 5-4 after tying the game in the 9th inning. The Rays got the walk-off victory off Braves pitcher Domingo Gonzalez. Buck Farmer as well gave up a run for Atlanta Braves. He's in contention there for one of the last spots in the bullpen. He had a tough day today. It's been very competitive there. We've seen pitchers such as Chad Cole go after one bad outing. He's already been assigned to minor league camp. We could potentially see the same for Buck Farmer, but as I'm about to get to in a couple minutes, the Braves will probably carry 8 relievers out spring training. I'd like them to carry 7, go with a 6-man rotation, but the Braves, they're fairly traditional. They don't go outside tradition. 6-man rotation is not very traditional, so as well they'll have to sell starting both Ian Anderson, AJ Smith-Shawver to fans there the first week of the season, going with that 6-man rotation. So AJ Smith-Shawver, he pitched today, his second game of the year. He had 2 innings pitched with 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. He struggled with his command in the first inning, and he was pulled after 25 pitches. But Brian Snitker, he wisely used that rule. A nice move by Brian Snitker. Felt like it was the right time to pull AJ Smith-Shawver. And Brian Snitker, he reinserted AJ there in the second inning using the special speed-taining rules. They then had him face a batter there in the third inning, a couple batters, which seemed like a questionable decision. He had a nice recovery there after the first inning, came back strong that second inning. Why ruin it and go back out there for that third inning? The Tampa Bay Rays, we saw for the Rays, Drew Rasmussen. He pitched well for the Rays today, despite giving up the run, which is nice to see him pitching strong for the Rays, as he had the UCL brace procedure after having Tommy John surgery early in his career. And that might sound familiar with the Braves, as Spencer Strider is currently in that same predicament. We're going to pause here for station identification. This is the BOS Sports Podcast. So, different circumstances. Drew Rasmussen pitching today, having that UCL brace procedure after having Tommy John. Slightly different circumstances as Spencer Strider. He had that UCL brace procedure last year after it being discovered that he had a bone fragment there, creating some damage there with his UCL. So we've got somewhat of a sample size so far. The Braves, so far in the first 10 games, the regulars, Jared Kelenic, Drake Baldwin, Matt Olson, Marcell Ozuna, Austin Riley, Ozzie Albies, Orlando Arcia, Jurickson Profar, and Michael Harris II, all of our favorite players. They're combined 21 for 99 at the plate with a 2.12 average. And that does not include Sean Murphy's 0 for 6 with his cracked rib. For these Atlanta Braves hitters, spring training, it's debated whether or not spring training numbers matter. For these hitters, what I'd like to see is moments where they're absolutely geared in on hitting the ball. And that's exactly what we saw with Matt Olson and Austin Riley yesterday versus Marcus Stroman. He makes a miss. Austin Riley and Matt Olson, they send it to the bleachers. Last year, we'd see them uncharacteristically pop the ball up or create some other kind of weak contact that did not result in a hit. Yesterday versus the Yankees, we saw Matt Olson, Austin Riley absolutely mash those mistakes by Marcus Stroman. So do not feel like the Stars and regulars have to have an absolutely outstanding spring training. Of course, the Dodgers starters are mostly having a very nice spring training. They're a bit on a different trajectory, of course, playing in that Japan series, March 18th and 19th. They have a bit earlier of a start to their regular season than the Braves do. Of course, the Braves and Dodgers will be facing off the second series of the year, the first few days of April there. So, it's too early to make much of a take on these numbers here. But, of course, with the firing of Kevin Seitzer and the hire of Tim Hires, there'll be a big storyline talked about by MLB Network, podcasters, radio. Everyone's going to be talking about this Atlanta Braves team and how they're hitting under their new hitting coach, Tim Hires. And to look at objectively right now, if we want to go there, the Braves are not where they want to be, having a 212 average compared to the Dodgers 233 average. So far in spring training, their top 9 batters so far are hitting 233. We'll break down those numbers a little bit further in a little bit, but I'm confident and hopeful that the Braves get the work done. They'll put in a lot of work here. We'll hear stories about the Braves going on golf trips and these fun little activities as such, but make no joke, make no confusion about they're there in that Braves spring training complex, putting in Kobe Bryant-like work, 24/7 Mamba mentality, up early and up late every night, working out, working on their batting, scouting different pitchers of rival here within the division, and as well reviewing information from the Braves scouting department as well. So compare the Atlanta Braves 212 average in spring training of our regulars as well to our rivals, the Phillies. The Phillies, Braves top 9 hitters so far in spring training are hitting 18 for 84 at the plate, good for a 214 average, slightly better than the Braves. And that includes Max Kepler with 2 for 10, their new acquisition. I believe he was with the Twins last season. They signed Max Kepler to bolster that outfielder. Kyle Schwarber and Nick Castellanos as well are getting older, so nice to have a little bit backup in case things don't go so well for them. So JT Realmuto, so far as spring training, 2 for 6. Got a couple hits already. Bryce Harper, 3 for 11. Oh, no, it's Alec Bohm is 3 for 11. Bryce Harper in spring training so far is 3 for 8. Bryson Stott, 2 for 7. Trey Turner, 0 for 8. He's not the only NL East shortstop that's 0 for 8. Orlando Arcia is too, so they're both struggling early on. So no need to panic about Orlando Arcia's 0 for 8 so far. Edmundo Sosa, 3 for 13. Nick Castellanos, 2 for 11. Brandon Marsh, 1 for 10. Alec Bohm, hot early on, with that 3 for 11 and a home run. Temporary quelling cries about Phillies fans about Alec Bohm. So the Dodgers out in the Cactus League, Shohei Ohtani, he's 2 for 5 already. Will Smith, 1 for 5. Freddie Freeman, 3 for 8 with 2 home runs. And a 1.5 OPS. Ooh. Hyesung Kim, signing over from Korea in his first season, 2 for 17 with a home run. The Dodgers giving him extra ABs, trying to gear up here to the MLB game. Mookie Betts, 4 for 15, the spring training. Max Muncy, 3 for 10. Michael Conforto, 2 for 14. Teoscar Hernandez, 5 for 16. Absolutely mashing the ball. Tommy Edman, 3 for 17. 233 average, 25 for 107 at the plate. Are this Dodgers team in spring training so far compared to the Braves 212 average? Just with the Braves have a little bit of catching up to do. Aforementioned, these are spring training numbers. Don't want to place too much weight in them, as I believe this Braves team and these Braves players are talented enough to flip a switch and potentially even use some trickery there in the last week or so of the season. Maybe not look like they're going so hot, and then come into there in San Diego and Los Angeles and absolutely light a fire, as we saw Austin Riley really flip a switch there in that 2023 playoffs there versus the Phillies there in that NLDS series. He had somewhat of a pedestrian 2023 season compared to Austin Riley and some other Braves regulars. And then that 2023 NLDS, he absolutely flipped the script. So after I mentioned the Braves regulars, what I'd like to see from them at the plate is to them be absolutely locked on in moments, show flashes that we know that it's there. So if the Braves want to keep things a bit close to the chest, maybe looks like they're struggling a little bit and come out the gates running, use the element of surprise a little bit, it might play into their advantage. So the Braves on the pitching side, they're looking stellar overall. A lot for Braves fans to be excited about, as Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Marcell Ozuna, Jurickson Profile, they're all going to be up there with their good hitting selves. We know what we're going to get from those 5 players. They're going to produce at the plate, 4 players. They're going to absolutely mash the plate. They're going to create runs for this Atlanta Braves team. And the Braves are going to win a lot of ball games, but barring catastrophe, like we saw last season, the Braves will be there, front runners of the NL East 2025, if not the winner. They're one of the favorites to win the NL East for sure. Of course, in the mix there with the Mets and Phillies. I feel like the Braves had the best pitching depth. The Phillies, they have great pitching staff as well. I feel like the Braves overall are the best team on paper. So Braves, although in the first month of the season, they have a tougher schedule than the Mets and the Phillies. The Mets have 17 games versus the Nats, Cardinals, Athletics, and Marlins. 4 teams that will likely all be under 500, if not well under 500. The first month of the year there for the Mets. So they could make a statement early on, get off to an early lead. Braves are not so fortunate, having one of the toughest schedules, if not the toughest schedule in baseball in April, facing Dodgers, Padres, Phillies, Blue Jays, which Braves always struggle against for some odd reason, Diamondbacks, Twins, and Dodgers for the second time the first few days of May. And the Braves schedule gets dramatically easier in May. I commented online that Spencer Strider will lead the charge for Atlanta Braves to win the NL East. And if they do, it'll likely seem at least somewhat that way, with the Braves schedule turning much more favorable there that first week of May. The schedule fits the narrative for the storyline that I made. So if the Braves are leading the NL East by May 5th, the day after the last game versus the Dodgers for a season, they get their series versus the Dodgers done quick this year. I see them winning the NL East. In later podcasts, before the season starts, I'll make a full prediction, MLB prediction, division winners, full standings, playoffs, all that. Not quite ready to make those predictions yet. So I still advocate for, in this late hour, for Atlanta Braves to have a 6-man rotation, especially if AJ Smith-Shawver and Ian Anderson look sharp the rest of the way in spring training. They've had some mixed results today. AJ Smith-Shawver, his first appearance was scoreless. Well, today he had a couple runs. And Ian Anderson, just opposite. In first appearance, he had a run, and just Friday's appearance versus the Marlins, scoreless. He had that ground ball working, that weak contact working. Scoreless appearance for Ian Anderson Friday versus the Marlins, bouncing back from his prior start where he struggled a little bit. So opening day rotation proposed with 6 men. It would look like Chris Sale, Reynaldo Lopez, Spencer Schwellenbach, Grant Holmes, Ian Anderson, AJ Smith-Shawver. Aforementioned, I don't think the Braves are going to do it. They stick with their traditional ways. Franchise, they haven't had many, if ever, a 6-man rotation to start the year. That'd be a nice factoid. If any Braves fans know if the Braves ever had a 6-man rotation to start the year, please comment. As well, they would have to pitch us fans on pitching both Ian Anderson and AJ Smith-Shawver versus the Dodgers the first week of the year, which they'll probably get roasted about online, and they tend to bend a little bit, although, of course, Though if the division comes down to a game or two, and they're to take up the suggestion of going with 6-man rotation, then and they were to lose some games due to that 6-man rotation, that could be a storyline of them being hindered winning the division. So the bullpen with my 6-man rotation, of course, you can only have 13 pitchers. That'd be 6 starters, 7 relievers. And that would leave a relief core of Rizzo Iglesias, Pierce Johnson, Dylan Lee, Aaron Bummer, Daysbel Hernandez, Anel Perdomo, Jake Diekman. Grant Holmes transitions to the bullpen after Spencer Strider returns. The only question there is if all these pitchers are pitching well and are healthy, then how do you create the roster spot for Spencer Strider? That's a great question, a great problem for the Braves to have in May or June when Spencer Strider returns. That's not the same problem as this whole debate about the catchers online with Drake Baldwin, Chadwick Trump. If you're going to say that Sean Murphy is injury prone, then you want to keep Kurt Casale and Sandy Leon there in AAA. You don't want to burn them now and DFA them after Sean Murphy gets back in the first couple weeks of the season. As for the relief corps, it's a completely different story. As if all of our starters and relievers are pitching well and healthy by the time Spencer Strider comes back, DFA somebody. Well, they don't quite have to, as Dylan Lee has options. Spencer Schwellenbach has options, although it's looking like those will never be used. As well, Daysbel Hernandez has options, so we got options. The Braves would just be loaded with a plethora of pitchers. So I still advocate them to go with that 6-man rotation as well. All the remaining players vying for one of those final bullpen spots are on minor league contracts as well. Or Anderson Pilar was selected in the Rule 5 draft. He's not on the 40-man roster, never called up, so you can keep him in the minor leagues. Chad Cole, minor league contract. He's already signed to minor league camp. He's down there. Buck Farmer, minor league contract. Braves don't have to put him on their opening day roster. Alex Anthopoulos, he really cooked with the relief depth. Last year, we were kind of But this year, we have a nice stable of relievers there down in AAA. And as well, we have prospects lurking. I'd like to see Ian Mejia, maybe Dylan Dodd, if there's a chance for him. And he's doing well in AAA. Get a chance out of the bullpen. So, Hayden Harris as well, prospect for a Braves from left side. See how he does for AAA Gwinnett. We'll see where he starts off. He was in Gwinnett last season. So Chris Sale, so far this season, some of the Braves pitchers, break down some of their stats so far. Early on in the spring training, Chris Sale, 1 appearance, 2 innings, scoreless, no strikeouts. He reportedly threw a sim game. It's rumored to have thrown a sim game since his first appearance. So hopefully no need to worry about the absence of Chris Sale not pitching since then. Reynaldo Lopez, 2 games. As well, there's a few relief pitchers as well, similar situation, such as Rizzo. We've only seen him once, so hopefully they've been working in the sim games. Element of surprise, aforementioned. The Braves use the element of surprise there. Keeping their best pitching, their best pitchers on the backfields of those sim games. Reynaldo Lopez, he's thrown 2 games, 3.2 innings, 3 strikeouts, no runs, 1.36 whip. Nice start to spring training for Reynaldo Lopez. Spencer Schwellenbach has pitched 2 games, 5 innings, 5 strikeouts, 0.4 whip. Aforementioned, those options he has looks like they'll never be used. As Spencer Schwellenbach, he looks like the real deal. All-star potential for Spencer Schwellenbach. David O'Brien has him as a favorite to win the Gold Glove as well. All-star Gold Glove potential for Spencer Schwellenbach. Cy Young, we'll see. So Grant Holmes, 5 innings, 1 run, 2 games so far for Grant Holmes, 4 strikeouts, 0.8 whip. Ian Anderson, 4.2 innings pitched over 2 games, 1 strikeout. He had that 1 run aforementioned the first game. he's struggling with those base runners. It could have had more runs, but got out of the jam there. The relief pitcher came in the first game, cleaned up the mess for Ian Anderson, kept that run total low. And he had those weak contact outs we like to see from Ian Anderson. First inexperienced Marlins Friday. We need that from pitchers. Move the games along for the Braves. Get the position players off their feet. And as well, keep things lively. Keep them engaged in the game. And that'll hopefully translate a little bit to the offense as well. Having a pitcher like Ian Anderson out there getting those weak contact outs. AJ Smith-Shawver, aforementioned, 2 games so far. 4 innings pitched, 6 strikeouts, 1.75 whip. 2 runs, both today. He's had some struggles, so it's something to watch out for AJ Smith-Shawver. He might start the year in Gwinnett. So Bryce Elder, 2 games, 4.2 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts, 1.29 whip, 2 runs. Already struggling some for Bryce Elder. Probably a lot to be there in AAA Gwinnett. Start the year. Raisel Iglesias, 1 game, 1 inning pitch, 1 strikeout, 1 whip. Pierce Johnson, inning pitch, strikeout, 1 whip. As for mentioned, the aforementioned, hopefully they're working on sim games or whatever their program is. There are no injury concerns for players these pitchers that we've only seen once. Raisel Iglesias, Pierce Johnson, Chris Sale. Those are 3 top name pitchers for Atlanta Braves. So we've only all seen each of those players once so far as spring training. Dylan Lee, 2 games, 3 inning pitch, 3 strikeouts, 1.33 whip, 1 run on a homer. Aaron Bummer, we've seen him 2 games, including today. 1 strikeout, 1 whip, in his 2 games so far. Angel Perdomo, we've seen him in 3 games, 3 innings pitched, 1 run, 2 strikeouts, 0.67 whip. Looked nice so far. Daysbel Hernandez has really bounced back. 2 scoreless innings last 2 games after giving up 2 runs in his first appearance. He as well has a 1.67 whip. Braves added Hector Neris as well the other day. 35 right-handed reliever. Fans might remember from his days with the Phillies. He's a career 3.33 ERA, 107 saves, 740 strikeouts. The Braves look to bolster their bullpen. I believe he's added on a minor league deal. So the Braves just have a plethora of relievers there in AAA. Hopefully there's no concerns about the health of our main relievers, as that would be really bad, to say the least. So the Braves coming up. We're facing the Twins again tomorrow. Then the Marlins. Then the Twins again. Pirates, Red Sox. A lot of fun games. A lot of fun spring training games coming up. Opening day, March 27th, versus the Padres. First pitch shortly after 4 p.m. Eastern Time, as it's on the road there in San Diego. For the Atlanta Hawks, tomorrow versus the Bucks here at home. Then they're facing the Pacers 2 straight times, Thursday night, Saturday, and then back home Monday night versus 76ers. And I believe that will be also the next BOS Sports Podcast. As looks like I'm going to be switching to a weekly format Monday nights. It seemed like most convenient for me. So be sure to stream previous episodes of the BOS Sports Podcast. Stream Bar Soap Music on Spotify. And we'll see you next Monday after Hawks versus 76ers. Maybe we'll talk some about Joel Embiid to the Hawks.